We are going live and we are live. Hey, everybody. Welcome to our Success Mastermind for Monday, the last day of January 31st, 2022. John Lavenia here with you and Missy and Catherine and Lindsay and Daisy. And I got to turn off my YouTube volume because I hear myself talking. But good to be here with everyone. Get ready for another thrilling week. My favorite holiday is coming up this week. You guys know what my favorite holiday is?
It's not Lincoln's birthday.
Groundhog Day. That's it. Groundhog Day. You know why? Because I don't have to do a damn thing. Like nobody's expecting anything. I know our friends in the north are expecting that groundhog to stay out and play in the sun because
good. It doesn't snow anymore.
Yeah, but I know this winter has been a little bit rough for some people. So that groundhog damn well better not see his shadow. Of course, here in Florida, we don't give a damn. It's whatever. Good to see John. Good to see a few others tuning in. Hey, I got a news report today. You guys want to see something? You want to see an interesting picture? Sure you do. Of course you do. Look at that. That is. My wife sent me this article this morning. So why frozen iguanas are falling from trees in Florida. Anyway, it's a 1-minute read, but we won't even read it. Apparently iguanas, when it hits 42 degrees or something, like they just go into like a coma state. These things can get to be like 6 feet long, right? Grow up to 6 feet in length, right? And they're like falling on people and stuff. All right. So these are the hazards.
It's not dead.
No, it'll revive once the temperature comes up. It'll it's like a frozen coma. It's not even freezing. Freezing is 32 technically, right? But yeah, some people have elected to catch them, and others try to warm them up, but that's not the best course. They could bite when they're frightened. All right, so don't. Everybody, listen. If an iguana falls on you while you're walking under a tree, do not retrieve the iguana. Just let it be.
I think it's the apocalypse. That's iguanas.
A plague of iguanas. So now you know these are the problems of life in Florida in the winter. It's not the first time it's happened, apparently. I have no idea. I'm just learning all this stuff. I know not to walk little dogs around lakes. I know not to do that. Because there are creatures that are really fast that live in the lakes and they jump out of the lake and they get the dog and then that's the end of that. So anyway, back to more serious stuff. Today's Monday. We do have our book study group coming up at 9 p.m. Eastern U.S. time, where tonight we'll be covering the triumphant conclusion of The Law and the Promise by Neville Goddard. So tune in for that. That'll be fun. And I believe that is it for the calendar today. Yes, that is correct. All right. So getting on to a topic, kind of a light topic that maybe not so light, that was brought up just before we went live, having to do with business. There's and I do want to cover more business type topics with you guys. I know we're in a variety of businesses, so I'm going to cover things as I would intend that they're relevant, that they're usable for you. Some people, let's say, if you're heavily engaged in email marketing, talks of product design on various e-commerce platforms may not be relevant for you. Okay, but there are underlying principles which are relevant to everybody. And one of our esteemed members here brought up the idea this morning, just before I went live, that they've done a certain amount of effort, they've done a certain amount of production, and yet the sales or the tide hasn't come in to the degree that they would hope for in a certain amount of time. So right there, just when we consider that, right, what we're producing versus what's coming back, how we're being compensated for that, the idea for me that comes up is time. There it is, the word time. A couple of things on this. One is that we could have, you guys heard the saying, working in your business rather than on your business. You know the difference, right? So there's busy work and there's stuff that's, that you're producing that is necessary. Okay. But then if we're just working in our business, sort of like our own employee, then you really don't have much leverage. This is why corporations hire employees, right? It's not all just the CEO. Here are subordinates and they do things that the CEO doesn't have time to do. The CEO is a decision maker, and then, there's managers and whatever, and the whole corporate pyramid thing. Okay. Now, hopefully the CEO, which is hopefully what you identify as in your own business, because they've got enough of a handle on what do they need to do versus what could others do, they work on the business, not just in the business. They work on the business. Now, typically, if we're coming out of, let's say, a job type mentality, or you guys read Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki, or Rich Dad, Poor Dad, right? So he has these quadrants, right? There's the employee quadrant, which is one way to earn money and survive and whatever, where you don't have leverage. You are the leverage for the other guy, okay? And there's very little self-determinism, we'll say, in that, all right? So that's the employee. Now, a big step up from that would be like the self-employed person. So Bob is no longer the mechanic at the mechanic shop that somebody else owned. Now he opened his own mechanic shop and he's fixing the cars. Okay. So there's an example of a self-employed guy, still not much leverage, quite laborious, but a bit more causation, a lot more self-determinism, right? Well, when is the shop open? What kind of stuff do you fix, right? So there's all those questions that Bob gets to answer now. And that's a big jump for a lot of people. I know it was for me, right? So I remember when I bought my first franchise, it was all me. It was me doing it, and it was a lot of work, okay, and slightly better money, okay, and a bit more freedom, but freedom to what? Freedom to work 80, 90 hours a week. Okay, which brings us to the third quadrant, which is the business owner, or the bigger business owner. Okay, so now we're introducing leverage. Now we're introducing the idea of delegation, and having a more observable point of differentiation between decision making and working in your business. Okay, so here's labor and here's executive, decision making. When we think about executive, right, by definition, it's making decisions. Okay, so there's the bigger business owner, and so now we can grow our income beyond just our own physical presence. All right. So that's a good thing. If time, there's that word again, if time and money are directly connected, then you've got, some significant limitations. All right. And again, all of us have experienced this. You're starting something, you're giving a lot of attention to the new enterprise, right? There's definitely a time and money ratio there, which is not in your favor. It's not like, because you punched the clock and added more hours or something, that necessarily money's coming in because of that, like in the job, right? The linear income mentality has to be, I think, matured out of. You've got to mature out of that. Again, this could take, some introspection and some effort. But when we look at back to the employee quadrant, that is a linear income, trading hours for dollars, that sort of a thing. Okay, what we're looking for in the business, the B quadrant, what we're looking for is a leveraged income. Leverage. Okay, so you think of a lever like a seesaw or something. Okay, where you've got the fulcrum in the middle, and you've got however much distance on each side. Typically, it would be balanced on like a children's, seesaw toy. Okay, but let's say you had moved the fulcrum to one side or the other. You could put in less effort on the longer side and get more strength to lift on the shorter side, right? That's called the mechanical advantage. So leverage, that's what we're looking for, a leveraged income. Now, those three quadrants out of the four are all dealing with earned income. This is all under the umbrella of earned income, which is great, right? I like earning money, right? We know how to earn money. That's good. Best investment I've ever made is in my own ability to earn, okay? Because that makes me what? More able, right? So when I go and I attend the seminar, I read the books, I do whatever training courses, right? That augments my ability to earn income. by any of those three quadrants. Okay, but the fourth quadrant, which is really attractive, is called the investor. So I for investor. And in that quadrant, we've transitioned from earned income to capital gains. Okay, so now if we look at all the ways to make money in the world, it comes down to two. There's really two ways. There's people working, earned income, and there's money working, capital gains. Earned income, capital gains. People working, money working. And it would be a really good idea, and I know many of you are engaged in this to whatever degree, it would be a really good idea to leverage both ways. So here's the investor quadrant where you do nothing, you don't show up. You think that person, Bob over there, right? He's competent. He runs a good company. Let me invest in that. Let me invest in his competence and grow my investment because now the enterprise experiences increase. This is a basic concept. Okay. Now there's also a lot of speculation, and because we've relinquished a lot of the responsibility or decision making. I'm not the CEO, right? I just invest. So now somebody else, right, is at the helm. That is, for people who are more risk averse, that's a big jump, right? So we've got three big jumps here, from employee to self-employed, self-employed to business owner to investor. This all comes back to time and the amount of money you can make in a certain amount of time. Now we can see clearly, if you've been following like crypto and what's going on in the various markets, S&P 500, Bitcoin was from 60 to 33, back to 38. It's probably about to go down again. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. Neither does anybody else, unless you're what's called a market maker. Okay. So while the masses are seduced by, instant riches or whatever, the market makers, the whales, so to speak, the people who can throw a few $1 billion at something and make the needle move, right? They are in control. Okay. Everybody else is just along for the ride. And there's a lot of guesswork in that. Which is why, again, I'll say, or one of the reasons that I'll say once again, that investing in my own ability to earn, yes, earned income, my own ability to earn is the best investment I've ever made. Sure, I've made money on crypto and other stuff too. Okay, that's nice. And I've also lost money on that. I got into trading for a while, and I'm still involved in it lightly, but the I can tell you can make a lot of money really fast in like day trading, intraday trading and stuff. And by that same logic, you can lose a lot of money really fast. Hey, Evelyn, glad you're here. So, and guess which one I did? I lost a lot of money really fast. Okay. So that's not something where you have a dilettante approach. And I mean, sure, anybody can get lucky. Any idiot can click a mouse and, buy or sell, long or short. You're going to be right 50% of the time, statistically. Okay. Can you do that consistently? In fact, for anybody who's interested in that path, highly recommend the book Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas. It's like the psychological Bible for traders. Trading in the zone. And the whole idea of getting in the zone, just to give you sort of the premise for the whole book, is that you do it unemotionally. So you decide on here's your strategy, right? Here's your technical analysis. Here's whatever you're going to do that you've decided. That would be, building a case to put on a trade, whether it's long, short, whatever. And once you've made that decision, without emotion, you put on that trade. And you have your, I don't mean to get into lingo here, but you have your stops and, all the different technical indicators that would say to get out or, buy more or whatever. But the emotion doesn't enter because you're in the zone, because statistically, just like with a casino, that statistically the house is going to win, right? So if you got a good workable strategy, then get your emotions out of it. People get all crazy in the trading world because of fear of missing out, leaving money on the table, right? I can tell you that if you're emotional about money, then don't get into trading. Okay. You don't, yeah, it'll definitely like whatever you're experiencing, money or, winning and losing and all that, like gambling, like people going to Vegas and pulling the slot machines. Oh my goodness, man. It's that times 10. It's extreme. So be careful with that. But if you could just be cool, calm, and collected, hey, I just lost $1,000 in 30 seconds. Hey, whatever, right? Okay. Yeah. Great. But you have to be that cool also when it comes to, hey, I just made $1,000 in 30 seconds. Okay. Whatever. Right. What's the next trade looking like? Anyway, that's one aspect of the investor quadrant. Back to this idea of time, right? Because in that case, we could see money won or lost over a short or long period of time, but time is kind of the arbitrary thing. How long does it take to accomplish whatever this income goal is, all right, that you've got for yourself? Great question. And we can make an educated guess. Okay, so like we've got people here engaged in a lot of work, setting up enterprises and creating momentum, or about to create momentum with various methods. Okay, but what does it take? How long does it take to get that business or that particular business action into momentum? Now, some of you I know have been exposed to like Grant Cardone 10x, right? So when we think of the estimation of effort that it will take to reach a certain goal, there's an idea that you could 10x that. So 10x the goal, 10x everything, and therefore probably miss, right? Not hit 10x, but maybe 5x, right? 5 times what you originally intended. Well, that would be good. Okay. Now we can also take that to neurotic extremes, right? There's the whole idea of being a workaholic, or however you'd like to call it. So we've got to find, and there's the B word, we got to find some balance. Okay, so just like there's a balance between the amount of time you're willing to invest, time, attention, money that you're willing to invest to get a certain amount of return, there's got to be, you've got to feed the goose, so to speak. You guys are all familiar with Aesop's fable of the Golden Goose, right? So here's the farmer, and to his delight, the goose laid a golden egg, and he comes out the next day, and there's another golden egg. Oh my goodness, I'm so fortunate. You know what? I want all the eggs right now. He cuts open the goose to get all the eggs right now because he's greedy or something, or impatient, and no eggs. And he killed the goose. You lose, right? So there is that, I guess, what's the moral of that fable, right? Is that things take time, and that, you've got to feed the goose, right? The Steve Covey in 7 Habits talked about the balance between production and production capacity. We covered this when we studied the 7 Habits. One of my favorite parts of the book, there's a lot of good parts, but one of my favorite parts of the book is where he talks about the person who goes ahead and runs the office into the ground, gets a lot of profits, okay, but destroys the machinery, everything, nothing's maintained, right? And then somebody else has to come and take that post because now they got promoted because their statistics were so great, and they inherited this disaster. And so now they're blamed because production's down because they're busy fixing machinery or whatever, okay? So there's a balance between golden eggs and feeding the goose, okay? So that's the balance that I think we all have to be aware of. As we jump in on any business action, right? Yeah, we want golden eggs as quickly as possible, but we also have to feed the goose. So how do you feed the goose? All right. Well, one thing you can recognize is that because this whole time item is so arbitrary, and it's educated guess kind of stuff, that you can give yourself a break, right? I mean, if you haven't conquered the universe in your first 6 months or something, it's all right. Now that doesn't mean that while other people 5 years into the business who are committed, right, and who are doing the good and right actions that to do because you've been trained, right? Maybe you've invested in some training. These people 5 years down the road have made millions. That doesn't mean you give yourself 5 years to start seeing, some significant returns. Okay. So still you've got to create a balance there between deferred gratification and, demanding return. Look, I've recognized at times when I've been barking up the wrong tree, right? I don't care how much time you put into this, John, it's not going to it's not going to bear fruit to the degree that what you thought. Right. And so that's a hard look sometimes at things where, just time to, fish or cut bait, so to speak. Boy, I'm using all these cliches today. That's interesting. Well, sometimes it's time to cut bait, but let's say you're in a job situation and that's the wrong tree. Okay, well, that doesn't mean that you abandon whatever's keeping the lights on. That means that you introduce another thing, again, creating a balance, being responsible and keeping the lights on over here while at the same time growing this other thing, which is going to require what? A bit of imbalance in your life. So you have less time to watch TV now. Okay, that's fine. But this is important. In fact, this is exactly what I did. When I was transitioning out of the corporate world, my first 90 days, I was working the job like 70, 80 hours a week and commingling these actions with these actions over here, which was building my business. And when I got to the business, I got to the point where the business had overtaken the job, then I took a walk. Okay. So yes, that's unreasonable. That is, a bit, well, kind of like a 10X type action. Okay. But it was important to me. And you know what? I haven't worked the job since. So was it worth it? Yeah. Yeah, it was worth it. And I'll tell you what, it doesn't feel like work when you're on a mission. When you're on a mission. So here's the other piece of the balance, which I think you might find helpful, is that if you're experiencing lower than expected returns from the business actions, well, are you getting paid in other ways? Are you charging forward and slaying dragons and doing things that are gratifying to you? Because invariably, look, if we find here are things that we're passionate about, here are things that we enjoy, that we've got a proclivity for, and we just like it. It's very gratifying, and we find ways to serve our fellow man with those ideas, those actions, those things that we're producing. Invariably, there's going to be a return for that. I mean, here's again the idea of barking up the wrong tree. If we're just gaga over Mars rocks or something, and there's only like 2 other people on the whole damn planet who are interested in those things, yeah, you're barking up the wrong tree. Okay. But if you've got something with broad appeal, even broad appeal, and then of course target specific markets within that, right? Find your niche. But if you've got something that you're interested in, that lots of other people are interested in, and you can get in communication with these people, they're findable, and you can impinge upon them with some marketing message. My goodness, especially if you enjoy that work, right? Because now, wow, I mean, we get good at stuff that we're kind of passionate about. Interest renders aptitude. I'm highly interested. I've got a great aptitude. I'm a damn expert in that stuff. Okay, great. So now you could pay me to go be your expert for that, right? Or to produce that thing, which you're not as interested as I am, obviously, because you haven't produced it. All right. So this is all a little bit of an exercise in logic, but back to the original idea about delayed gratification and having, a certain amount come back from the effort you put out. We got to assess, is this, are we being smart? I guess would be the best word. Are we being smart in terms of where we're putting our attention and effort? And do we see a light at the end of the tunnel, where if we just do a certain amount of production, statistically, based on other people's work who have come before us, we can make an educated guess that yes, it will bring those returns that we're looking for. If so, charge forward, full passion, imbalance, right? Work till 1 o'clock in the morning. Who gives a damn? It doesn't feel like work. But if that stuff isn't in, we just keep looking at the chart. Just keep looking at the chart. I'm still waiting for the next sale to come in. It's like watching water boil. Oh my goodness. Wow. Right. In that case, perhaps busy yourself with something else that does give you gratification. Could be in the form of money, could be in the form of other things. Okay. But I've often said that there's lots of ways to get paid. Right. So there's psychic pay, right? Having to do with the psyche, the mind, the spirit, right? That gratification, that feel, working cooperatively with others, right? That is awesome pay. There's a lot of times why people stay in the employee quadrant, right? The E quadrant, because they're getting psychic pay. They get to hang out at the water cooler with, Sally or whatever. Okay, well, if that's what you're here for, okay. And of course, they do, the other production that the corporation demands, just enough to not get fired. But part of the experience, part of their recompense is the social aspect of that. I've seen people in like the network marketing world, home business and stuff, where they go to conventions and they're all very friendly and very social, and there's thousands of them, right? And it's the big convention. They haven't made any money. They've only been doing the business 5 years. Some people, take a little bit longer, and whatever justifications they have about it. Well, if that's what they're there for, right? Be social, hang out at conventions. Okay. Personally, if I'm gonna show up in some, business enterprise, I damn well better get paid. And yes, I'll deal with some deferred gratification. That's fine. Intelligent people can do that. Farmers know when they plant the seed, they're not eating corn in the next 10 seconds, right? It takes time. There's a gestation period. Okay, fine. But that's based on law. That's demonstrably provable based on law. We have data. Here are the laws of growing corn, and this is how it works. And as soon as the iguanas thaw themselves out and start running around, you'll know it's time to plant the corn. Right. So I guess where am I going with this? I had this thought today, and I'm going to shut up, but I had this thought today. Maybe this will help Missy, Lindsay, Catherine, everybody. I had this thought today. It was a simple thought, but a big one. Who am I? I asked myself that today during my meditation. And then I remembered, my goodness, I'm powerful. Oh my goodness. Am I playing small games? I'm playing a small game. A lot of times I'll look at what I'm doing and I'm playing a small game. I just took a call from a distraught customer in my consulting work who was seeking counsel, and they were having problems and whatever. And I took their call. Nice person. But here I was, and I only had like 7 minutes that I could work with this, but the timing worked out. I answered the phone, and they were telling me of all their troubles. And because I only had 7 minutes and I knew it, right? I had another appointment to get on. I was able to keep it brief. In other words, me handling this person's little stuff, this temporary little stuff that's going on in their life, which they just wanted to talk to somebody about. This is not John playing the big game. They should have called customer service. Okay, I'm not customer service, but nice, and help them and whatever for 7 minutes. And then I had to go on to my next thing. So in that way, remembering, all right, John, each minute, each second that you spend is taking attention, and you only have so much, okay? But it's taking that attention that you could be putting on this and putting it on that. Yes, this customer, these people are valuable. It's not my post, okay? But I'm going to go ahead and go above and beyond a little bit. And then I've got to get on to the game, which I've decided. I mean, after all, if we're in business, we'll go ahead and flex your muscles, right? Where's that self-determinism? Right? If you're just being pushed around or allowing yourself to be pushed around by, the employer at the job, right? Well, then what's the difference if you're your own employer and you're just getting pushed around by everybody else's agenda? This is all a time suck. So back to the idea of how long does it take to make a certain amount of money? Okay, well, how much time do you spend in front of, people who could give you money? Dan Kennedy, the great copywriter, was asked once. Somebody said, "Hey, you claim that you can show anyone how to double their income. How would you do that?" And he said, "Oh, that's easy. Just double the amount of time you spend in front of customers, people who can give you money." So all the busy work, right? All of that, which doesn't yield transactions, okay? And then here's the stuff that actually yields transactions. Double the amount of time you do that. And there it is. So I hope I gave you guys some ideas about the what goes through my brain when I'm considering, all right, what am I going to spend this afternoon doing, or these 2 hours, or this 10 minutes? It really comes down to that. I'll conclude with Wallace Waddles, who's a favorite here in this group. If all of your actions are efficient ones, you cannot help but get rich. If all of your actions are inefficient, you must remain poor. So there's that time consideration, efficiency. Am I doing this action on purpose and with faith that it's going to bring the results that I'm looking for? Purpose and faith. If we do each action in a state of purpose, faith, and like we were talking about last week, with a depth of gratitude, it's going to be efficient. It's going to get done a lot faster, and it's not even going to feel like work, and it will bear fruit. Anyway, thank you guys for hopefully these ideas gave you some things you can use. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you want to come on out and share the floor is open. Any thoughts on that, Missy?
Well, yes, I do have to figure out a way to advertise this thing. We tried Facebook. That didn't get us nowhere, anywhere. But I just thought being first on every page, on every mug I make, like there's 23 pages and I'm first. I've been first for months and months. And so that's the part there's like a gap and maybe it is just time. I don't know, but it just seems strange to me. Like if I was on the 22nd page, I would have more understanding of why I'm not, but I'm
okay. But are you hitting the right targets? And we don't need to get into the minutia right here, but if it's Martian rocks or something, yeah, you're on the first page and who cares? 2 other people on the planet.
No,
you see what I'm saying? No. Okay.
No, it's broad. It's
Okay.
broad. So whatever I put up goes to 1, 2, 3,
Okay.
so, but I guess it's time. I don't know. Maybe it is time and advertising. Got to get me some funnels.
Okay.
Don't know how to do that because they don't give you the emails of people in Etsy, but
Okay. Well, we could talk
Yeah.
about that. In fact, let me say this. Shannon and I are working on the newest iteration of CEO Freedom Accelerator. So that's going to be coming out next week. I actually have to fly to Texas on Wednesday, but then next week we're going to be doing some awesome stuff, which I would love for you all to be involved in. So There's that. So Missy, no, I don't have like, here's the grail, Missy, your problems are solved. I don't have the grail. If I did, I would give it to you. But the grail's in there somewhere, somewhere in all those words, there's a grail. All right. I see Catherine's here, Daisy, Edward, Evelyn Smith. I love Evelyn. Good to see you. Janet's here, John Apogee, Lindsay, and Virginia Pipitone. Virginia, I was thinking of you just the other day. I was eating a cookie. I thought of Virginia. Virginia equals cookie in my brain. Cookie equals Virginia. Hey, Virginia.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Good stuff. All right. Any other thoughts on this whole time money equation and what we can do to accelerate it? Okay. Well, then we're going to get back here again tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern U.S. time for the final 3 chapters of Neville's Law and the Promise. And feel free to invite a friend, jlsuccessmastermind.com/books, and they can get in on the book study group, which is open to the public. Our next book shall be The 8 Pillars of Prosperity by James Allen. So I will be sending out a free copy of that to everyone here who's on the list. All right. So tune into that starting next week. I think we're going to knock that one out in just 2 weeks. It's James Allen, short book. And then from there, it's going to be, just so you guys know, you may want to go ahead and grab a copy now. Oren Klaff. Pitch Anything by Oren Klaff. So that one is going to be a deep dive into more of the sales posture and psychology of it. So anyway, love you guys. Yes, Missy, what?
I just said I could write bitch anything, but it's
bitch anything. And this is pitch, not bitch. Pitch with a P. Okay. Good to see you.